Hello. The first speaker is Nicolo Wojewoda, who described himself as currently unemployed and a victim of the jobs crisis, I think the first unemployed. But that hasn't prevented him from studying in Rome, in Sweden, in the Netherlands, and in China. If communication and organization are an important attribute for a 21st century leader, then Nicolo is an appropriate speaker. He organized, while he was an engineering student, SPEED, a virtual platform, a student platform for engineering education development, so that students could have a say in the decisions which affected their lives. Let's welcome Nicolo.
Let me tell you about a friend of mine. She's called Liesje, and Liesje was a student. Liesje was a city councillor a few years ago in a city called Delft in the Netherlands. Now, what might be surprising for some of you is that when Liesje was a city councillor at the time, she was a student. And what might surprise even more of you is that the party that she was representing was founded and run entirely by students. Now, this is not the typical student party that you think of when you think of the word student party, obviously, but it's a party that has put forth ideas, that has provided constructive criticism, and that has helped improve the community, and especially when it comes to young people. Now think about this for a second. In this small town in Northern Europe, young people and adults are equal partners in governing their community. William Gibson said that the future is here. The future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed yet. And I think that what's happening in Delft is the future of politics. And I think that if we spread that seed around, if we implement this concept well everywhere, that's going to be the key for solving many of the issues that we talk about. Let me tell you why I think about all this. Let's take a step back. There's a lot of problems. We talk about them. I'm not going to repeat them. And the reason why you know already about this is that not only we talked about them at this summit, but you're already working on them with your initiatives, with your projects. And you feel that, and I know this because I've talked with many of you, you feel that when you do something, and no matter how hard you try, it's rarely enough to completely solve the problem. There's always that one political decision that prevents the problem to completely be solved by your actions. There's that final obstacle, there's that final bottleneck that makes all that you do really something that it really takes away from what you do. And these key decisions in politics are taken in city councils, are taken in parliaments, are taken at G8 meetings, at World Bank meetings, all these high-level places where decisions are taken that affect you in two ways. These two ways are first of all, they're decisions that affect you directly, more than any other person, more than any other group in society. There are decisions about education, obviously, about things that are specific to our generation, sexual health, about unemployment, and there's also decisions that are taken that affect you in the future. Environment, obviously, but think about the economy and all the infrastructures in society that have a lifespan of decades, not of years. And what we have done until now about all these decisions that are taken in these forums is to influence the decision makers, to put pressure on decision makers. What I'm saying here is, let's become one of the decision makers. Here's the good news. Many organizations are already working on this issue. Youth participation is very big. There are global movements around it, and the UN is recognizing it, all the countries. But participation is, they say that participation is like spinach. Everybody says that it's good for you, but nobody really likes eating it. So what I want to say here is that youth participation is a youth right. Youth rights are human rights. And what I would like to propose is to add to our resolution, we call on our leaders to support full and effective participation of young people in decision making. Now, here's the bad part. With rights come responsibilities, and it's not only up to the politicians to open the doors for us. It's up to us to step in that door. And to do that, we have to be aware, we have to be competent, we have to propose solutions, and we have to fight on all fronts. You will fight as active citizens of your community, just doing your part. You'll fight as social entrepreneurs, as businessmen. But remember that somewhere in a room, around the table, there are decision makers taking decisions that affect your future and your present. And at that table, you don't have a seat. My message to you is get yourself that seat so you can pass it on to the next generation and let that be your legacy.